Welcome back to the Outdoor Kitchen Show. I'm Marissa Turner, and today we're on location on the Diversion Canal at Creative Cajun Cooking, and we're here with Katrina at Katrina's Cake Cottage. Now, Katrina did the cakes for Jimmy Babin's wedding. That's why we're right here, and they were amazing. Katrina, most people didn't even realize that the crawfish boil pot was a cake.
It was a cake.
It was beautiful. It was fantastic, even with the logo and everything. How long have you been doing cakes like this?
About 4 years.
Okay, well, it's beautiful work that you do.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun.
Absolutely. Now we're going to show some pictures of some of the specialty cakes that she does, and today she's here to show us some tips and tricks on how to make cakes at home and maybe some little decorating tips. Okay, and we're going to start right now with the cakes because I'm interested to see how a professional does these cakes, because I tell you what, I'm good at burning and messing up cakes. I'm not good at baking. I forget it in the oven every time. I can burn some bread. But I love cake, and I loved your cake at the wedding, and I definitely want to see this. Yeah. All right, so what do we need to get started?
We're just going to mix up all the ingredients, put it in the oven, let it cook, and then we'll decorate.
Okay, what kind of flavor cake are we doing?
We're going to do a white almond cake with lemon filling.
Those white almond cakes, those are so good. That's the difference between doing the cakes at home and everything else, because a lot of people use the white cake and it just doesn't have any flavor.
You gotta add some flavor.
Yeah, that almond cake is the best.
Well, first we're going to mix all our wet ingredients first in the bowl, and then we'll add the dry ingredients. It tends to mix better if you do that. So we're going to start with 2 cups of water. Two-thirds cup oil, cooking oil, just regular cooking oil. 6 eggs. And this is the part that you want to do, is the almond flavoring. And I use 4 teaspoons, so that would be a tablespoon. And a teaspoon. If you put your wet ingredients first, it doesn't get all sticky at the bottom of the pan. And then just use your favorite cake mix or whatever you use to make your mixes for your dry ingredients. And then just mix it. You're going to want to start slow at first, because if you don't, you'll have a mess everywhere. And then mix it for about 2 minutes. If you go too long, if you mix it too long, you'll get a lot of air and holes in your cake. So you don't want to mix it too long. But you do want to make sure all the dry ingredients are completely incorporated. You want to prepare your pans with a baking spray, a non-stick spray, but you don't want to use just regular Pam. You want to make sure it's for baking and it has the flour in it. And another thing that I do, this is a tip, is you want to wet some bands. You can buy these at the store, or you can just take strips of towels and wet them and put that around your pan. And what that does is it makes the cake cook evenly from the inside out if you use these little strips. So that's just a little tip for you. So now we have our pans ready. We're going to put our mix in there. To do 2 9-inch pans, it's equivalent to about 2, if you want to use box cake mixes, to 2 cake mixes. And another thing is you want to try to get it as level as you can so that it does cook more evenly. And I always just kind of bang them down a little bit and get a little air out. Those are ready and ready to put in the oven. Okay, these go in the oven. I set my oven for 325. It all depends on how your oven cooks, so you want to try one first to make sure. But I do it at 325. I check it at 20 minutes and then every 5 minutes after. When the toothpick comes out clean, it's ready. You don't want to go any longer, because that's one of the mistakes people make. They cook them too long and they get dry. So you want to take them out as soon as they're done. So we'll put them in the oven. In about 20 to 30 minutes, they'll be ready. Well, our cake is cooked and cooled now, and so now we need to ice it. And so we're going to go ahead and make our icing. So we're going to start with 2 sticks of butter, 3 cups of Crisco. Now we're going to use our flavoring. You can use the flavoring of your choice. You want to use 4 teaspoons. So I use cream bouquet. You can use almond, you can use vanilla, whatever you like. I use a tablespoon of cream bouquet. It tastes just like if you go into a bakery and you get that smell, that's what it is. So, and then I also add a teaspoon of almond. And then the secret is you mix equal amounts of coffee creamer and water. Because if you use just water, you can have blowouts in your cake. when you mix it with the coffee creamer, it makes more of a fat in the icing, and so it stays together better. So I use a shot glass of the coffee creamer water mixture. I have had trouble, especially when you're transporting cakes, that the icing will blow out because of the movement. It gets air under it. When you use the coffee creamer, it tends to stay together better. So it's just a little trick I learned. So we're going to start this to mix in, and we want it to get really, really creamy. Start slow because the coffee creamer liquid will come out on you if you don't. After it gets all incorporated, you want to turn it up to a little bit faster so that it mixes very, very well. You want it to be very creamy. You don't want any bumps or bulges or anything in the icing. So if the butter doesn't incorporate completely, when you ice your cake, you'll have little spots and it looks gray, so it messes up the color of your cake. So you just want it to get real creamy, just like this. And also while you're mixing, you want to scrape down your bowl occasionally. Now we're going to start adding the powdered sugar. You're going to use 4 pounds of powdered sugar. You'll put your first 2 pounds in all at one time. And you'll get that started. If you have a guard, this is when you want to use it, because if not, you'll have a mess. And start slow. And you let that incorporate. As that gets incorporated, you can add your powdered sugar. I just stream the rest, the other 2 pounds in at once. And I also add about a 1/4 cup of the cream water mixture. 1/4 shot glass. Yeah. Add in the other 2 pounds. You don't have to go real slow, but just you want it to incorporate as you add it. Once you get it in and all the powdered sugar is mixed in, then you can turn your mixer up. You want to put it on about a 7 if you have a KitchenAid for about 7 to 8 minutes. You want to get the icing down into the belly of the bowl, because if not, you'll get a lot of air, and the less air you have, the smoother your icing will be. Okay, as you can see, it's all incorporated. It's very smooth. It's the exact consistency that we want. You don't want it too thin, but you don't want it too thick either. If it's too thick, it'll get dry and it'll crack on your cake. So for the cake we're making today, we're going to make it a light, light pink color. So I just used the AmeriColor gel paste, and don't use regular food coloring because that makes too much moisture in your cake and it'll make your icing kind of runny.
We've got to take a quick break, but when we come back, we'll be with Katrina of Katrina's Cake Cottage with more tips and techniques for your cake baking. Stay tuned to the Outdoor Kitchen Show. We'll be right back.